Hi, I'm Matt from Educraft.org, and an additional video I'm going to do in the series of stuff that goes beyond our 15-hour Minecraft camp, or Minecraft modding camp. I already did how to do a block with multiple textures. Now I'm going to do how to get transparencies in your textures working in your block. During camp, some campers wanted to make blocks where the textures were see-through, except for like an image of some kind. And they didn't want like an outline or a color around that image. So I'm going to show you how to make it so that your textures with transparencies actually work in your block and you can see through certain parts of your block. So getting your block to accept the fact that it's going to render with a transparent layer is something we take care of in the code and not in the JSON file. It seems like something that you would handle in JSON file, but it's not. And so I'm going to show you the steps in the code you're going to take. And basically there's two methods you're going to add to the block. I'm going to show you the first method first. Yeah, I'm going to show you one method first, and I'm going to show you what goes wrong if that's all you do. And then I'm going to show you the second method as a solution. So here we go. So what you're going to do is first we're going to create our new class. Now I want my block to have little emoji faces, and so it's I'm going to show you my resources. So I've already made my texture, and it's in my textures under blocks, and it's going to be called emoji block. And I'm going to open with nope. Open with other external program. Come along now. Paint.net is the one I like to use. There we go. Clicking OK. And the texture is this little emoji guy. And I'm just going to cue ball it. I'm not going to do anything fancy like I did in my other tutorial. But I'm going to show you how when you make your block you're going to keep these transparencies, because some of you who've been using transparent textures have probably noticed that when you try to use a texture with transparencies, then the game just kind of fills this in with that purple and black checkered design that it fills in when it doesn't have a texture file for something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new block, go to mod blocks, and I'm going to make my emoji block. So public static block emoji block, and that's a good variable name, all lowercase with underscores. Now I'm going to go to the init, and since the block has no properties, I can just do the quick way like I did with my dice block. Emoji block equals new block material dot cake. I mean, it could be any of those materials. I just stick to cake. Set unlocalized name. That's a string, so it's in quotes, and it's lowercase emoji block with underscores. Dot set registry name, and we all know that's in quotes because it's a string, and it's uppercase beginning with whether it's a block or an item. Emoji block, and then dot set creative tab, and in a semicolon, and let's put it in the again in the decorations. So creative tabs dot decorations. All right, and so I have all the stuff that I need for the game to know what the emoji block is all about. I'm going to register block emoji block, and I'm going to put it in my register render emoji block. Cool. So it's ready to go. It'll be in the game, but it won't have the texture files because I haven't made the JSON files. And I can do the JSON files the easy peasy way because I'm going to cue ball. So I'm just going to find one of my JSON files that's a cue ball, which is block name. I'm going to, under my block under models, copy that, paste it back in, but I'm going to, okay, I'll save. But instead of calling a block name, it's emoji underscore block. I click OK. And emoji block uses the texture that's called emoji underscore block. And I'm going to go back to block name here, copy. So if I want it to look good when I'm holding it or when it's in my inventory, I have to affect the item model. And remember that uses the registry name. So capital B block begins with what it is, then emoji, then block. I'm going to click OK. And just like I did with the other one, I'm going to take block name. I'm going to say it's the texture file called emoji block. And one more time for my block states, it's a little different. It just uses, basically it just says, oh yeah, first registry name for that JSON file. So this isn't talking about the texture file. This is actually just going in and finding the block under here and just saying, okay, just use this. And that's for getting different variants on your blocks, but I only have one. So I'm going to call it emoji. It's called the emoji block. See right here, emoji block, the JSON file. And I'm going to go to File, Save All, and let's see how terrible that looks. Okay, so I've started the game, and I'm going to check my inventory, go to Decoration Blocks, and scroll down, and deceptively, it looks pretty good. It's got transparencies, but this is what it looks like in your items. So when your item JSON thing is what it looks like when it's in your inventory and in your hand. So watch, I'm going to put it in my hand, and hey, it still looks pretty good. It still seems like it's rendering the transparencies. Oh, but wait, let me actually place it in the world. Yeah, that's not what I wanted. I want to be able to see, I mean, I kind of like the way that looks, but still, the point of this is to be able to see through the block. And that's not what I don't want it to have that black part. So I'm not a fan, and I want to fix that. And then so let's go with how that works. So first off, I think the best way to do this is to just make an emoji block class. So I'm going to have block emoji block. And I'm going to go click on the error and create class block emoji block. I don't want it to go into init. I want it to go into block classes. Say insert, and it should extend block. Sorry, extends block. There we go. I'm going to import the stuff I need, and there's a quick key to that. Just hit Control or Command, then Shift, then O. And if you get a screen like this, go with the stuff that says net.minecraft.block.B block. That's the block I want, just the basic block stuff. Okay. And I still have an error because I need a constructor. So it's material in. I've already addressed this in my block classes, so I don't have to worry about that. So in my mod blocks, I've given it an unlocalized name, I've given it a registry name, I've given it a material, and I've given it creative tabs, so I don't have to even worry about any of that. I mean, if you want to be well organized and you want to have an attitude like, well, I just want to take care of it all in one place, then sure, you know how to make a block and you know how to take care of this stuff in the block class if you watched my tutorials. And so right now, though, to show you what to do, I'm just going to go to the class that we just made for the emoji block. So you want to keep this here. Usually I delete these and use this super to put that value in. But because you're calling the argument in your mod blocks, and you have this material cake right here, then you don't want to get rid of that, or else you'll get an error because you want it to think that it needs to take an argument. Okay, so there it is. So one thing that I want to add, and that's going to be outside of the constructor class, is you'll notice that ice blocks, there we go, ice blocks actually have transparencies in them. And it's because it has this code. okay, and you have this get block render layer where it has a translucent block render layer, and it makes it so you can see through things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this code and I'm going to put it in block emoji blocks, and you can just copy and paste it. You can find block ice if you scroll down to this section that says reference libraries. You load net, then Minecraft, then block, and you scroll down to block ice over here. Then you'll find the block ice class, and you can actually copy and paste it outside of the constructor class. So not in here. I'm going to get rid of this annoying comment. But on the outside, I have this. So it's at side only, in parentheses, side.client, saying this only happens on the client side. If you try to do this on the server side, you'll crash Minecraft. So it's important to get your proxies right so that you don't crash Minecraft. Okay, then underneath that, you create a method called public block render layer. Okay, and that's capital B, capital R, capital L. And that's what it expects to return. And you say get block layer, and you put the parentheses after saying this is the name of your method. And the method, inside the method, you return the block render layer. So it's saying you have a block render layer, or the class get block render layer returns a block render layer, and it's returning the block render layer translucent, saying it's okay for this to have to use those transparencies in your textures. And let's see if that fixed the problem. All right, now we're back in the game, and I've got my block, and let's put it down and see how well this works. Oh, you ignore that. That's something else I'm doing. All right, put the block down. Now, if you look at that, you'll notice it does do the transparencies, but it does it a little too well, and it's messing up on the ground there. So check for the transparencies. We got that working, but we've created another problem. And so let's fix that in our code. Okay, so here's the new method we're going to add. It's a new method. It's outside of the constructor, and it's going to have to start with an annotation at override, because we're going to be replacing something from the super, and we need Minecraft to know that it should expect that, and that's okay. And so here is our method. It's a public boolean. It's a boolean because it's true or false. Okay, and the method is opaque cube, meaning is the cube opaque? And the answer to this question is no, because an opaque cube is one that no light shines, so you can't see through. And so we wanted to know that this isn't true. Now it takes in the argument I block state. It's called state. Now we create our curly brackets to do the method, and because it's a boolean, it has to return something, and booleans return either true or false. And we want to let it know, no, it's not an opaque block. Treat the block state, treat the block like something that things can see through. So we're going to return false. Okay, and that should make our block actually transparent, have those transparency textures without letting us see through the ground. All right, so we're back in the game, and let's see if the code works. So I'm going to take this and place it on the ground. And hey-oh! So if you say the block is opaque, blocks are blocks that are just solid things that no light shines through at all, like these blocks. And so I guess the way it does it is it says, oh, the textures then cover up the ground. But if you cover up the ground with a transparency texture, it makes the ground see-through. So this way, if it's not an opaque block, it knows not to cover up the ground with a transparent texture. It just keeps the ground there so that you can't see through it. And so we've got a good block that doesn't have So I have a block that's transparent and that doesn't do that weird bug with the ground. And there you go. You've got exactly what you want. A block with transparent textures. I think it looks a little bit dumb, but hey, some people seem to want this, so good for you guys. Alright, so that was one more Minecraft specialty, just something that we didn't get a chance to get to in our camps, and that wasn't included in my initial tutorial playlist. And so I'm going to keep these coming. Just so I'll let you know, for full disclosure, I'm now working in Forge 1.10.2. So far everything we've done is the same. So whether it's Forge 1.9 or Forge 1.10.2, nothing that I've messed with or shown you how to mess with has changed. So we should be good. But I'm going to add a video to the playlists, to the tutorial playlist, about how to switch to Forge 1.10.2. So keep a heads up for that one.